Hi guys, it's Cameron here. So we just got some news across the wire that former President Trump has been found guilty on all counts, 34 felony counts, in his hush money sex scandal case in New York. I've gotten so many texts already from people and all this type of thing. And so the big question is this gonna matter? I think it's different than the E. Jean Carroll case, which was a civil finding and it's just a lot of money. We can actually use the term convicted felon now. So I think what's going to happen is the Biden campaign will, rightly so, call Trump a convicted felon. Biden will probably do that on stage at the June 27th debate. And then Trump will say it's a smear. Trump will message this as the deep state is coming after him. He's trying to defend you. All the typical stuff they've already been messaging. So this is all going to end up getting blended through the presidential campaigns. As far as it moving the opinions of voters, I would hope, my aspiration would be that there are moderate, middle of the road voters in 6 or 7 states that don't really want a convicted felon to be president. I think it's one of those things, generally speaking, in American democracy, we don't elect convicted felons. In most states, they're not even allowed to vote. I don't know that Trump will be allowed to vote for himself. He's now a resident of Florida, and there's a whole process with that with them. So my hope would be that people would take that and say, hey, let's not elect a felon. But my guess is that there's going to be a portion of the party that's going to double down because they believe they're in a giant crusade to save the country from the forces of destruction, which is now being labeled as woke, DEI, which is just the new N word, all this type of thing. And so, is this significant a moment in American history? Absolutely. This is bigger than an impeachment. We've never seen a former president convicted for anything before. They never went after Nixon, all this type of thing. And it's not like presidents haven't done stuff, everybody's had their scandal sort of thing. Except for maybe Ford because he wasn't in long enough, Carter because he's just a nice guy. But this is a significant moment and day. Unfortunately, it happened during a presidential election year, which means it's immediately going to become political, and people's opinions on this case is going to get even more hyperpolarized and even more hyperpolitical. So it's going to be a crazy few hours as the pundits kind of go through this and as people process it and news gets around. This will be the only news story on the morning talk shows tomorrow morning. I'm not surprised that all 12 jurors came back. Obviously, we know a lot about the jury. 12 people from New York, we know more about them than we ever, I think, really ever wanted to know. I didn't really decide to, cover this trial. I wasn't really that interested. I'm more interested in the Georgia case, which is very salacious. And in my mind, worse for democracy. Yeah, you paid a porn star some money and got Michael Cohen to do it, and you falsified business records, and okay. The fact that in Georgia he was literally trying to get a public official to falsify an election in his favor, to me is way worse. The fact that it's been so poorly handled by the prosecutor down there by hiring her boyfriend lover situationship to the case and throwing the whole thing into question when she knew it was in such a public eye, is more interesting, I think. And that case is going nowhere fast. There's some other cases that are going to be delayed till after the election. So this is probably the one case that's going to really happen for this election cycle, and we'll see what happens with it politically over the next several weeks. However, and here's the big thing. This has happened in May 30th. The election's not till November. Americans have a notoriously short memory. So I wonder how much of this is going to matter by November. I will be very interested. Not that I believe the polls at this stage, because I don't. I don't read polls until September. But I will be very interested to see what the polling data does if Biden gets a bump out of this, if Trump gets a bump out of this, all this type of thing. That will be very interesting. So that's the latest on the breaking news about President Trump. Thank you for watching, and I'll try to keep you guys updated. All right, bye-bye.